So today we're going to be talking about Instagram highlights and how to use them to market your business online. So as we're getting started, let's first talk about what we're going to cover today. So we're going to talk about how to update your highlights, and then we're going to talk about a few different items to include in your highlights. So a couple different ideas that you can use to create your Instagram highlights. So the first one is FAQ, so frequently asked questions. You can repurpose old content and put them into highlights. You can showcase specific products. You can also create tutorials or how-to videos. And then one of my favorites is to highlight your customers. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those today. And then, of course, as always, you'll get to ask questions, and we'll look at those at the end. So if you have any questions at any point, feel free to drop them in the chat as we go through this process. All right, so first up, just a quick guide on how to create highlights if you're not familiar. So you can pull, photos from anywhere, but basically you go into your Instagram account, you tap on your story icon, which typically is the little plus button, or sometimes in your circle of your profile, you can click the plus button there and you can add to your story. So open your story, upload your story like normal, and then there will be a highlight button once you put it into your story at the bottom, and you can click it right there. So as you can see, I did a little bit of a video here. I'll play it again. So you'll add something to your story, plop it on up there. And then once you select your highlight, you can add it to a brand new highlight, or once you select your story to add to a highlight, you can either create a brand new highlight or you can add it to one that's already there. So in this video, you can see how I'm creating a new highlight, but if I had some highlights already there, I could select from any of those. And then whenever you're updating your highlight, typically the first thing that you update to that one will be the cover image, as you see on your profile. So if you want to change that, you can always go in, edit it, and change that, but just know that that's typically going to be one of the first things that, or like the first image that you put up. And that's where it'll be. It'll live on your profile right there, and people can go in and look at your highlights at any time. So that one's relatively simple once you get the hang of it. And every time you update a highlight, it moves to the far left of your screen. So if you want to have highlights that go in a certain order, that's something you want to kind of think ahead on and make sure that you're not updating it too frequently. Or if you do update it, that you're moving them back around the way you want. But I recommend trying not to have it in that process because it can be a hassle to take care of. So just keeping them branded and succinct is really the most helpful way to use them. All right, so the types of highlights that you can create. The first one that you could create is an FAQ highlight. And so this is really great, especially if you have a product of some kind that you're selling, or if you just get a lot of questions from clients. So it's great to have this on your website, but also on your Instagram profile. And so people can come in and click through, and Bandu does a good job of this. And that's where I got this screenshot here. And you can use something like Canva to create these. You can do it with just text, or if you wanted to, you could create videos and put them up as well. It's totally up to you, totally up to what you're most comfortable with and what you think your ideal clients and customers are going to want to see. And then you just pop them in there. So whatever your frequently asked questions are, you're just going to put them in your highlight just like normal. And so just really asking yourself, like, what are the top 5 or 6 questions that you're getting from customers? Or what are things that you wish they knew? So maybe it's not that people are asking, how do I pronounce something, but you want them to know how to pronounce your company's name, right? So maybe it's something fun and unique, and it has a very specific way that you want it to be pronounced that isn't necessarily always apparent. And so you can go in and create these FAQs to do something as simple as that, or maybe it's a return policy, or what it is that you do, or like how you would explain what it is that you do, or different things like that. So really anything that you think people are going to want to know about, or that you wish that they knew before reaching out to you, you can definitely pop them in there. So that's one thing that you can do. All right, the second option or idea is to repurpose old content. And so this is something that one of the accounts that I follow does. And so they have these things called Eureka Bites. And so it's literally just taking their blog posts and putting the highlights or like small bullet points about them into these stories. And so they update them and just make sure that, they're sharing that information. And this is a really great way, like I said, to repurpose the content you're already creating. So you don't have to, recreate it every single time. You can just use what you already have, and it's super, super easy. You can even do this not just with blog posts, but even with videos or podcasts or anything like that, any type of longer form content that you have that you can repurpose. And especially if it's some of your highest performing content, that means, people might be more likely and more inclined to engage with it. And so putting that into your highlights can also be a super helpful way to reuse that content and also share information with your followers. Oh, interesting. You can hear the podcast I was listening to. Okay, so this is an example of how to showcase particular product features. So this is Kitty and Vibe. It's actually a company that someone I went to college with started. And so it's kind of fun to see her business grow. But she has these different, so it's a swimsuit company. It's really great. And so they have these different lines, these different designs. And so they have like the Lulu, the Sophia, Maya, Cleo, and now this new gingham print. And so what they do with their highlights, as you can see in the screenshot, is they will showcase each of those different patterns, and they'll talk about what inspired that pattern, or the name of that pattern, and all those different things. And so it's something that's really fun and relatively simple to do. And once you create it, you can really kind of just let them live their best to highlight life on your profile, and people can kind of shop almost on your highlights before they even get to your shop or your page. So that's another thing that you can do. And you can do that with products, you can do that with services, you can do all those different things, but definitely showcasing specific features. So talking about, why you named something the way you did, or what's special or unique or different about your product. So think about the things that will be most interesting to your clients or your customers, and then showcase them there. So that's another great way to use that space. All right, so the next one is to create tutorials and how-to videos. Even something like this webinar can be really great. And so using those highlights to take whatever videos you're sharing on your stories and putting them into those highlights that people can always come back to. It gives people an opportunity to just get to know you a little bit better. And also you can potentially answer some of their questions before they actually ask them, right? So whether you have a service business or a product-based business, maybe there's a certain way that someone uses your product, or maybe there's a unique way that you approach your service or whatever it is you're offering. By kind of giving people that sneak peek, it can just help them to see that they might have a need that you can meet, or especially if it's a product, it gives people an opportunity to be like, oh, I would never have thought to use this bag in that way, or to use this in this way. And so it just kind of gives people even more opportunity to get to know your products before they make a purchase, or to find out something new about a product that they're looking at. And so with services, it's kind of give people a chance to get to know you if you talk about the specific products or how you use specific items or do specific things. It again just establishes your ability to do that work, and gives people a confidence that you understand what you're doing, and they get a little bit of an insight into how you approach your work, which is super helpful. So that's another great way to use those items. You can create those how-tos with just your iPhone, or you could even do a full production with like a camera and lighting and props and things like that. But whatever it is that you're able to do, you can do that. So it doesn't have to be highly produced, but it can be. So just consider those things kind of as you're approaching it. And these tutorials, what I like to is, make a long form one. So maybe you have a product and you want to showcase a special feature of it, and you want to put that on your website and you're going to get it professionally shot. Do that. Go the whole way with that one, bring out all the big things, and then clip it down that you can put it on Instagram. So now you can put it on your website, you can put it on your stories, your highlights, any platform you want. All those different pieces are super, super helpful as you're going through the process. Or you can just shoot it with your iPhone and that'll work great as well. So just consider what you're able to do and what your clients will find to be most helpful. So that one's a really great one that I enjoy doing. All right, and then this one is to just highlight your customers. So talking about something that you have accomplished with your customers, maybe even, especially if you have a product again, where people are sharing it. So maybe it's just a whole highlight about how people are loving your product, or they love working with you, or you are completely transforming their business and helping them to achieve their goals. Whatever it is that they're sharing about their businesses and about how you're supporting what they're doing is ideal. And so definitely keeping that focus on the customers and not so much of like, see how I helped this person, but truly saying like, look how incredible this person is and all the work that they've done. I'm honored to be a small part of that, or, whatever that works best for you, makes sense in your kind of branding language. So those are some just really simple ways that you can highlight people on your page, really getting to showcase your knowledge base, helping people to understand what it is that you do, even before they get to your website, or maybe they've gotten to your website and now they're just exploring your different social media pages. And so they want to know a little bit more about you, a little bit more about your products, your services, what people have to say about having worked with you. So don't be afraid to experiment, get excited, think outside the box, and see what happens. See what other people in your industry are doing with their Instagram highlights and all those different pieces. And then just as like a freebie tip, so I love doing covers for highlights just to create a branded feel. And I will use Canva for that. And they have a lot of great templates, a lot of different icons that you can use, a lot of great inspirational templates that are helpful. So even if I don't find a template that fits exactly what I'm looking for, sometimes there's pieces of different templates that I like to use and combine. So that's a helpful tip there for you. All right, so now I want to open up for Q&A real quick before I do some final wrap up. I know we've got some extra time here, but I wanted to give us a little extra time to go through some questions and for me to update you guys on what's coming up next with these webinars. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A box. I'm happy to go back through any of the slides and so you guys can give them another look. But as always, you'll have the recording as well. So if you wanted to give it another quick look later this evening or tomorrow or whenever, you'll have access to that. Let's see, and if there's no questions, that's quite all right as well. All right, so next week will be our last mini session, and starting July 1st, which it's crazy that June is nearly over. It's like halfway through. But July 1st will be when the mini sessions will be added to the members only web pages. Oh, we have a question. What's your question? Let's see. I feel like I always get into talking and then people finally get their questions up. Maybe I should wait longer. Oh, good question. All right, so if you can add a previous post to your highlights later, yes. So you can add from your archives to your Instagram highlights. And the way that you do that is you just go to the 3 little bars at the top right-hand corner of your screen, click down, and there should be an archive link. And that, once you click into the different posts that you want to re-upload into your stories, you can upload it into either your story or directly into your highlights. So that's one way to do it. And it's a really helpful tool if you post something, forget to highlight it in the moment and then want to go back and highlight it. But just make sure that you have the archive setting on. Sometimes you can turn it off, and so that can be different. Yeah, so there's either the 3 little dots on the post, or if you're looking, the question was if I meant the 3 little dots on the post. So on your profile page, there are these 3 bars at the top right-hand corner, and there's an archive button. And so if you wanted to post something on your stories from like a few weeks back or something like that, that's where you would want to pull from your archive stories. Now, if you wanted to post like a post on your page, you would be able to share that to your stories and then highlight it like a normal story. If you click the archive button on your posts on your feed with the 3 dots, that will archive that post, which is different than what you want to do. So it's really only the stories that you can put in your highlights. And so that's why you want to click through your story archive to highlight them. I'm happy to give you kind of a tutorial on that if you'd like. Great question though. Awesome. Okay, sweet. All right, so like I was saying, July 1st will be when the WDS membership is starting, and I have information about that on my website, and it will be linked in the follow-up email this evening. So if you want to explore those options, you're more than welcome to do that. I would love to have anyone of you be a part of the membership that's starting. It starts at $47 a month, and that's for access to the entire library of content. So gosh, over like 60 videos plus every week. And so just like these webinars, it'll be new weekly content, but just for members only. And then you'll also, depending upon the level of membership you get, you can also have access to the membership group, or you can even join the monthly mastermind I'll be starting to talk specifically about your business, to get specific feedback for your business, and to just connect with other people who are also growing their business. So if you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. Please feel free to reach out. And if you sign up to be on the launch list, you'll get 10% off of your membership through the link in the follow-up email. So make sure you sign up for that. And if you do have questions or have any trouble, please feel free to reach out. Happy to make sure you get all that info. But I did want to update everyone about that. I'm super excited about that starting in just a few weeks. And I think it'll be super fun, and I'm excited. So I hope you guys are too. But that is all I have for you guys today. I know that was a short one, but I feel like we powered through it. So if you have any questions or want to connect, or if you're looking for some specific help for your business, I do offer guru hours every other Friday through HeraHub DC, and you don't have to come in person. We can do it virtually. So if you want to do some virtual guru hours with me, you can definitely access those on the HeraHub website, or I've also included that link in the email. So definitely take a look at those. And as always, you can reach out to me. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week and a great weekend. And I will see you back next week. All right, bye-bye.